Welcome back to Operation TS with our update for the 6th of November UTC. For today we're going to focus a bit more on our area of concern. So this is a smaller area off the coast of Malaysia where we know there to be a large amount of ship-to-ship transfers. Yesterday Charlie Brown tweeted on X that in the Sentinel-2 imagery there were at least 6 ship-to-ship transfers observed. For Operation TS we've been working with the team from S&P Global Market Intelligence, Spire Maritime and Planet, as well as Ray Baker, Charlie and tankertrackers.com to explore these areas. The teams have been sharing information through the last few days, and behind the scenes we're definitely learning more about how technology can best work together to understand this challenge. So focusing on the area of concern on the 6th of November, there was a total of 413 vessels in the area. You can see it's a busy shipping lane and it's pretty hard to analyze what's going on here. So we can add a few filters, in particular vessel type, because we're interested in looking at tankers. So other filters we can use to focus a bit more on potential vessels of interest is looking at some of the events. So for example, we might be more interested in looking at vessels that have been loitering in the area, or those that might have had an encounter, or those with missing AIS. So I'm just going to turn all of those on. And that brings our list down to just 123 vessels to investigate. Still quite a lot. So another option is to take a look at the vessel list. And in here we've got a view that shows us everything about the vessel's current journey. So over here I've already filtered to the number of anomalous movements on that journey, but there are other options around time at sea, encountered vessels for example. So one vessel that does stand out a bit here is the Singapore Loyalty. So we can just click on here to view that on the map. And having a look, it's currently showing loitering and missing AIS behaviour. Checking out the vessel's entire journey from this point, we can see that it had some pretty good reporting up until the area of concern, and it's just currently now following on from that missing AIS period, loitering in this area. What's interesting about the Singapore Loyalty is taking a look a little bit closer at its ownership structure. We can see a bit more information about the registered owner and the operators and the fleet managers. Clicking on this registered owner, it's a fleet of just one, and that's been something that's been raised as a concern. I'm just going to overlay a view here from S&P Global Market Intelligence, and here we can see that under the group owner for this registered owner, there are many fleets of one with a similar naming convention. So that's just an interesting potential area to explore further, which we can look at. I'm going to go back now to the vessel list, and I'm going to sort now to look for vessels that haven't been at port for a long period of time. So we can see here that there's quite a few that have been at sea for really long periods of time, but along with that they've also had really long periods of missing AIS. So that's not too unusual because some of those port visits may not be being recorded while they're on missing AIS. But this vessel here, the Angel, stands out because although it's been at sea for over 300 days, it's actually really very good at reporting on AIS. So I'm going to click on that to take a look at it a bit closer. And I'm just going to scroll down here to see this vessel's journey activity since the end of last year. So if we zoom right out, we can see where this vessel has been travelling. And what stood out to us here is the time spent here off the coast of Africa, which is a bit of a known area for when vessels may be spoofing and actually travelling over to Venezuela. So with this one, we checked within the Spire Maritime position validation data to see if there was anything of interest there. And what that's come up with is that yes, this vessel was indeed spoofing at this period of time. So following on from that period of spoofing, I'm just going to play through time. This vessel has travelled down through the strait here and visited our area of concern. The vessels then also travelled further north after that. And what's interesting about this is it doesn't really appear to be visiting any particular location at that point in time, or really even slowing down, just turns and heads back. So we're going to take a bit of a closer look at that and see if there's any other interesting analysis we can do for that vessel, and hopefully we can share more updates on that. So yesterday we spoke a bit about the RIWA, which was an IUU listed vessel that was heading into the area. We've been following the vessel's movements, and it looks like it has just entered our area of concern. And previously we had set up an alert to let us know if and when this vessel was going to arrive into our area of concern. So I would have got an email a few moments ago letting us know, and on the vessel's history, this event has now been tagged. As I mentioned before though, this area is a really busy shipping area, so it's quite possible that the RIWA is just going to transit right on through, and currently in AIS it is recorded that the vessel is travelling on to the United Arab Emirates. However, in the next video we are going to explore this vessel a little bit more in terms of both its on-water and off-water networks, looking more at that ownership information and previous encounters that the vessel has had. It's probably a good time to note as well that Operation TS really is a learning exercise, so we're definitely not suggesting that any of the vessels in this area of concern or area of interest are violating any compliance or regulations, but rather we're running through some examples of how teams might work together and bring different sources of information together to best analyse a vessel's behaviour and information. Thanks again for joining, and please do share any thoughts on how we can address this analysis. It is definitely great to have your feedback, and please do join us for the next video focusing on the RIWA.